For our final, it is only two of us today because two of our other members are currently unavailable to join us. Samsara is going to try to join from her house on video, and Hannah was sick, so it will be just me and Daniel presenting. So for our final presentation, we did a continuation of our infectious disease unit because we wanted to learn more about the bacteria of people with braces versus no braces. This is important because no one wants cavities.
We thought that students with braces would have more Streptococcus mutans, which cause cavities. And yeah.
We tested 9 students without braces and 6 students with braces, but one subject tested twice, which was me. I had a dentist appointment that day, and I had a dental cleaning, so I tested before and after. We asked the test subjects to swish with bottled water to remove food and any other substances in their mouth before we tested them. Then they were each given a brand new toothbrush that I got from my dentist office and a test tube with 7.5 milliliters of normal saline. They were then asked to brush their teeth vigorously with the toothbrush for a minute and a half. They were asked to not swallow or spit the saline while brushing. After they finished brushing, they swished with normal saline for a minute and spit it back into the test tube without swallowing. They then placed the toothbrush brush side down in the test tube and agitated the brush in the spit so that we could get any extra bacteria from the toothbrush into the normal saline. Each spit sample was deposited, 2.5 milliliters of each spit sample was deposited on 3 agar plates with different growth media, which were MSA, THY, and TSA, using a sterile dropper. The agar plates were streaked using sterile utensils, like the cotton swab and sterile loops. Each agar plate was then incubated at body temperature for 48 hours so that we had an even amount of growth on each plate. They were then evaluated to compare the growth.
So here's our result. Our first plate was the Mitis salivarius agar, which is our selective medium for the Viridian's streptococci group, including our specific bacteria, the Streptococcus mutans. And here's our graph. Our next plate was a non-selective medium, which is the tryptic soy agar, also known as the TSA plate. And our last one was the Todd Hewitt with yeast. It is also non-selective, just like the TSA, but this one turned out different than the other two because it had more non-braces with more growth than braces, unlike the other plates.
All of the plates grew a lot of bacteria, so we could not use the plus system that we were taught in Bozeman. To compare growth, we grouped the agar plates by agar medium and ranked the samples from least to most growth. We counted how many samples from subjects with braces fell into the higher versus lower half by splitting them in half. The subjects with braces were definitely mostly in the higher growth of the samples for both MSA and TSA. TSA and THY were much different. One subject, which was me, gave 2 different spit samples before and after a dentist appointment on the same day. More bacteria grew on the plates from the sample after my dentist appointment compared to before the cleaning. That shows that a dental cleaning loosens bacteria from your teeth as well as brushing. One subject's spit samples were dropped onto a plate but not streaked. The bacteria formed a lawn on these plates. The volume of spit put onto each agar plate was excessive, as shown by the fact that all the plates had 4+ bacterial growth, or a continuous lawn. If we were able to recreate this project, we would use half the volume of spit that we used. An alternative method that we could have used to sample for bacteria would be teeth scraping, but we didn't use that. The test subjects with braces had more bacterial growth on MSA and TSA plates, but test subjects without braces had more bacterial growth on THY, but we aren't quite sure why that happened.
So our conclusion was that people with braces have more cavity-growing bacteria, such as Streptococcus mutans, than people without braces. One subject gave 2 spit samples, and before and after she had her teeth cleaned. And in her results, we also took the results from our last experiment, which suggests that bacterial levels in the saliva are highest after brushing. And that is the end of our presentation. Are there any questions?
So did you guys, first of all, great job. I really enjoyed your presentation. Did you guys see that between the MSA and TSA, was the amount of growth pretty similar for each individual, meaning you saw, like 4++ or something on TSA, but also as much on MSA, or did you see less bacteria growth on MSA versus TSA?
Well, with our plate,
With our plates, kind of different between people. I mean, MSA and THC had the same. We had the same result. Like for example, more people level. It wasn't the same.
Their sound is too high. They're oscillating.
yeah.
We're having some technical difficulties,
They need to
Benoist.
turn their sound down.
Yeah, we're having a little trouble hearing you.
Yeah.
So so they would have different numbers. MSA would differ from TSA amounts, is what you're saying?
No, the amount, but we just numbered with names.
Oh, I see. I don't think they were keeping track of. Maybe it was the same person.
I'll look in between. Are we live?
Yeah.
So you should turn your sound down a little bit.
Try turning it down.
Turn
Will
the
that help?
audio down.
Turn the audio
See if
down.
that-
We are.
Does that might help?
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's better, yeah.
And did you guys research into why maybe THY didn't have as much growth as the other 2 plates?
We had quite sure why the different. It was just the number of people without braces had growth, and those without.
Okay, that's interesting because THY would also choose for strep species, so MSA was supposed to do that too, but clearly it was very rich in growth. But I would say, with THY, you're also helping enrich for strep species. So it's interesting that you got, if I heard right, more people with braces having more growth on THY, which would indicate that maybe they do have more strep species. That's just one potential. We can't really say for sure, but THY would enrich for strep, so well done.
Do the other team have any questions for them?
We had more on braces in the higher percent.
Can't hear it.
Can you repeat that?
The THY had more on-braces in the higher percent.
Oh.
More with braces?
Non-braces.
Non-braces, I see.
Brace.
That's interesting. Yeah, that would be kind of opposite what I would think, but. And I like the dental cleaning result. Very surprising, but it makes sense. Like your guys' prediction was right on, that maybe it get dislodged, then you have more bacteria during that time after the cleaning. So that was a good experiment you guys did on the side.
I think you should find a way to do the presentation for your dentist. Do you think your dentist would? I just think he would be really. Is it a he or a she?
She.
She. I think she'd be really interested to see the project and what you did with it and all the different results. So you should think about asking her if you could give the presentation for her, maybe her and some of her dental hygienists or something like that.
They might even have a meeting every week where all the dentists get together.
They might.
Yeah, they might. I think it'd be great. I think it's very, and I also really like the way that you, when you couldn't use the plus system, you came up with another way to compare the results, right? So you went from the smallest amount to the largest. So sometimes you have to improvise in terms of how you're going to analyze that data. I thought that was a great idea to find another way to do that.
That was Hannah, our other teammate.
Yeah, that was a good solution.
All of our plates, I them to not remove bacteria. Yes, but it was the exact opposite. There's so much.
Did you guys check them at 24 hours to see how they were doing?
No, they were in our
I see, it was in the science room. Because it could be also, if you guys were to check at 24 hours, maybe there wouldn't be so much growth where you could actually kind of stop it there. Because it might have been they just get enlarged and kind of fused together. It was hard to distinguish. But in the future, you guys can apply that.
Any more questions? Any questions from the other, from Valley or Cascade that you want to ask these guys?
Did you happen to look on the web to see if anybody else had ever done such an experiment?
No, we didn't.
Great job, you guys. Good work.